Okay, so the Lodestar's here. Had to wash my pickup, so did that, but also hosed everything off in the driveway, so I've got a nice surface to work on and lay on. It was a little dirty from washing cars and whatnot. But first order of business is we got to get this thing on some wheels and up off these blocks and down a little lower. Then I'll pull it outside, and then I have to cut the tongue off, get rid of that. Then the skid steer there with my lifting beam, we'll pick it up, and in order to get it rolled out, I happen to have my ball cart home from work to move a big slab step, and I think that's going to be the perfect trailer.
Damn it, Gump! You're a goddamn genius!
I can just lift up, set it down on that, it'll balance itself, and I mean, that thing's rated for, I would think at least 1,500 pounds. I mean, we move trees that are 1,500 pounds, up to 1,500. I mean, typically around 1,000, but, so it might be a little heavy for it, but I think we can make it work. So gonna get to making that happen, and let's see. Okay, so you guys saw me pull it out. No harm, no foul, no issues. I have the front on jack stands now as opposed to the tongue jack because I have to cut that whole tongue off. But before I go too far, I kind of want to get it up in the air in the back here. And so you see I've got my tall 30-inch jack stands, but that's not quite enough because top of frame on the Lodestar is about 35 inches. So 34 and a half. So with my wood that's going to go in between the frame and the body, we need about 36. So those two 4x4 blocks I've got here sitting on my jack stands are going to put me at that height, but obviously we've got to go way up. We got to go another 18 inches. We're only about halfway there. So we'll put some blocking on the jacks and we'll jack up, and then we'll put the jack stands in and put some more, drop the jacks, put some more blocking in, so on and so forth until we're up at that height. Then the rear will be as high as it needs to go. Then I'll probably proceed with cutting off the tongue, and then we'll do whatever kind of rigging we need to do in order to use the skid steer there to lift up the front. With that, it's time to back the truck under. So this isn't too complicated of a process. It's a little tedious, but nothing crazy. I'm excited. All right, so the floor jacks were getting a little sketchy, so I went to some taller jack stands in the front to get it leveled up. Man, this thing's tall already, and it's not high enough yet. Ooh, she's gonna be tall on that trailer. So what I'm going to, as you can see, we're supported on 4 jack stands right now on that frame, but I'm gonna go to, why is that sitting crooked? Oh, I see why. We're gonna go to an air jack, a 20-ton air jack in the middle, cribbed up, which will be a lot more stable with a piece of C-channel spreading.
Look at them spreading! They spreading!
that way. Because what was happening is as it jacked up on each side, it was coming off of those front 2 jack stands. This way, the tripod is going to be a little more stable as we go up. And then we can let it down onto the stands once we're high enough. Or at least, that's the idea anyway. See what happens. All right, so I did some work off camera, but I've got my 1x4s all on here. I used a Forstner bit and a little trimming with a circular saw just to get around the rivets and a little bit of plating that was on there. Also cut off the old taillights, so we've got wires hanging. Easier to do with everything off the frame. And once that camper goes on, it's going to be a little more difficult. So we're electrical taped on so they don't move on me, and we're ready to put that onto it. this is anyway. All right, well, there we have it. We accomplished the major step in the process, which is mounting this 14-foot camper to this Lodestar. Boy, the wheelbase just looks so much shorter now with the old camper on it. So I've got 2 U-bolts on each side, 4 total U-bolts, very front and just about midway, right where the frame starts to taper. And then I'll do a weld later at the back of the frame, and we'll do that at the same time as we do lights and some sort of a little bit lower bumper and some things like that. I don't want to go too low because we got to think about approach angles getting on that trailer, but yeah, we'll come up with something. And so now we got to move to mountain tanks. I don't know if you saw, but it ended up being quite the challenge to get my lifting boom out of that space, but get it out we did. Yeah, it took a lot of effort, but we got it. The underbody box, even though it's tucked up into the flange or whatever you want to call it, the skirting, it does open just fine, clears by a couple inches. Yeah, the windows can open, so there's a little bit of a gap, but it's exactly the gap I planned. It means that those windows can open up and we clear the stack just under that little notch. I'm gonna give you some views all the way around. Let's take it out of fisheye so it looks proportional. I'll just stand back a little bit so you can get the gist of what it looks like. Yeah, color-wise, I love it. We're in some real bright sunlight right now, so you really get a feel for it. It's really hard to even tell the difference. I gotta take you back into, there we go. That stack is crooked, which means the stack mount is crooked. I always knew it was, but I don't know. We might just have to deal, is what it is. Got the steps on. So I have to do some grinding. My L brackets and they need some lube, but my L brackets that I mounted them to, and I had to add a bolt because I wanted to move. But my L brackets are in the way. They're a little taller probably than what it was intended to be. So yeah, I'll have to do a little grinding. We'll make that work. That way they can stow completely, but they're darn near the perfect height. I mean, maybe 6 inches at most, 4 to 6. Let's call it 4 inches short, but we'll deal with that. They clear the tires, So I got measurements for my mud flaps. It put a little bit of weight onto the chassis, not a lot. Granted, we still got to put quite a bit in here and tanks and all that, but it's almost on the overloads. It sank the truck down by, maybe 2 inches. So there's weight on the spring pack, so that's good. I haven't taken it for a ride yet till I get everything welded on and just make sure this thing's solid. All I did was pull it out of the driveway and pull it over here. I'm gonna take you back into normal view mode, but yeah. Well, here, we can do this. We just gotta climb on the old trailer. Make sure I don't fall off the old trailer. Whew, we barely can get it in the shot. There we go. And while we're standing here, let's talk about heights. So I planned this so that it could go on this trailer that I'm standing on, right? And with the weight on, now granted we are going to add more weight, but I measured to the top of those pipe vents right there. Only one of which is going to stay. The ones on this side are going to go, but regardless, to the highest point, with it on the frame, we are at 10 foot 5 1/2 inches. And this trailer is at 35 inches. So that puts us at 13 foot 5 1/2 inches. Yep, we did it. She'll fit. And of course the trailer will drop a little bit, spring ride. So she'll drop a little bit when we put that truck on there. You know, we had whatever, 15,000 pounds she'll drop. So whew, we made it. Boy, she looks tough. It's just my wife says it looks like a tank. I don't know that it looks like a tank, but it sure does look beefy. I can't wait to finish it out. Can't wait to get flaps and lights, and now we get to do tanks, and that way then we can do plumbing and things like that. I've got to order one more tank. Of the 2 waste tanks I bought, 2 nice big ones, only one will work for my main. The other one I got to add a little small tank. I've got a laundry list of little items I need now that I can get measurements and now it's out of the barn. But all in all, I don't think I could be any happier. You know, everything just worked. Give you a little view underneath. So you can see we got our 1x4s. I used 1x4 treated pine. I know it's not oak, but I wanted it to be thin, and that's what I did. So you can be mad at me that I didn't use oak, but it's okay. Again, for what this truck is, it will survive just fine. But you can see how that 2x2 frame is sitting, and it spans the gap out to the original trailer frame and brings it down to our 34-inch semi-truck frame. So and she is rigid and tight. So this is where, kind of somewhere right in here, probably right at the back, to be honest with you, we'll box in where this frame is boxed right there on each side, and we'll probably do some sort of an L bracket that we can weld in. So that will and do some sort of a gusset. We got to make sure we don't get in the way of our waste tank. We got to hang off of here still, but regardless, we'll get that done. So yeah, and then we'll get some lights in here somewhere, and we'll be in business. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. It's a little different, but hey, that's what I do. We figure stuff out and we make it work, and we build new stuff, and there we go. Well, I can't wait to see it up on that trailer, on that step deck. Whew, it's gonna be naughty. All right, y'all have a great week. Thanks for watching. See you in the next episode.